Good afternoon, bonjour, 안녕하세요, and ni hao.
Yes.
Honorable Minister Mariang and Madam Christine Nakamura, and lady entrepreneurs. I'm very delighted to be here to witness the launch of the first women-only business mission to Korea. The Asia Pacific Foundation of Canada has organized it well, and Honorable Minister Ng has given it great momentum to move forward by her presence here today. As you may know, Korea has become one of the major vibrant economies in Asia. Korea has proved it through its success story of economic development. Canada is right to choose Korea as a close economic cooperation partner. Korea will not disappoint Canada. These days, Canada and Korea are getting closer. The GDP size of the two countries are almost the same. The economic structures are complementary to each other. And bilateral trade volume is increasing. And the two countries adopt similar strategy for fair trade and diversification. Canada has lots of great potentials for further growth. It is a leading country in the area of innovation, together with traditional service and manufacturing industries, endowed with abundant natural resources based on multinational global network. Thus, I invented several nicknames for the economic heart of Canada, the Toronto. Another Silicon Valley.
Yes.
Another Hollywood. And original York compared to New York. And the hub of the global ethnic network. The four. You have to memorize them. On the other hand, Korea has only the abundance of the human resources, with the three coastal sides surrounded by the wide sea. But it inherits the spirit of dynamism and creativity from nomadic Eurasia and wisdom of refined elegance from Chinese and Indian continents. Probably through 1,000 years migration and mutual interaction. Korea has emerged to be a comparable economic partner to Canada. These days, the geopolitical and geo-economic destinies of the two countries look to be closer than ever, especially in the era of the fourth industrial revolution. The physical features are not so important in the so-called information age. The current government in Korea is pursuing the digital New Deal and Green New Deal, while taking care of gender equality and social welfare for the people, and talking about global economic cooperation with the world. Our two countries, Canada and Korea, have shared values and common interests and complementary strength. The time has come. The first woman-only business mission to Korea may be given some divine mission. I expect great success virtually this year, substantially next year. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. 감사합니다.
Give a bit of a background.
So thank you very much, Consul General and Director General Jung, for welcoming us here today. My name is Christine Nakamura. Maybe I should take my mask off. My name is Christine Nakamura, Vice President of the Asia Pacific Foundation of Canada in Toronto, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you today to the launch with ministering of our virtual mission to South Korea. We are delighted that with support from FedDev Southern Ontario, which is a regional development agency of the Department of Innovation, Science, Economic Development, we were able to put this together. In fact, following the success of the mission to Japan that we took last year in April 2019, we thought that this is a great opportunity to help women scale, women businesses scale. And so we came up with this idea to organize and lead other missions for women-only entrepreneurs to other parts of Asia where there's a lot of growth. And so in February, and I know the minister will speak a little bit more about it, but we were supposed to go to South Korea, to Seoul, and we had to, because of the pandemic, postpone the trip. And I say postpone because it's going to be postponed. We're going to go sometime, I hope. But over the first few months of the spring, it was evident that we weren't going to be able to travel for a little while. And so our team got together and we decided to pivot to a virtual mission because, you know, the pandemic, as we all know, has really hit small businesses hard. And certainly the women entrepreneurs, women SMEs, were disproportionately affected by the pandemic. So in any event, we've got a 2-day program scheduled for November 3rd and 4th, 2020. The first day will be high-level discussions with leaders from government and businesses and technology with our delegates. And the second day will be a pitch session where our delegates who've been selected for the mission will have the opportunity to showcase their technology and their innovation. And in front of a large audience, virtual audience from Korea of companies that are interested in our women entrepreneurs. And from that, we will lead into getting the companies that are interested, specifically in the companies through the pitch session. They will have B2B matching sessions later on in November. And just in the lead up to the mission itself, we've organized a month of training for women entrepreneurs, but also for non-delegates. We're going to open it to the public, Mr. And what these sessions will entail are, you know, market entry strategies. We'll be doing trade law and regulatory framework within South Korea. We'll be teaching them about, you know, Korean business protocol culture as well. So we're doing a bunch of things for a month in advance of the virtual mission to better prepare our delegates so that you can really get to work when we have the actual virtual mission. And there's one tool, I was just telling the minister a few minutes ago, but there is a tool that we've developed. It's called the Geographic Information System Mapping Tool, which we developed for this mission alone, which has Korea on the map and information about the markets, the clusters, innovation clusters, the risk assessment, and it also shows where our Canadian companies are in Korea. So this tool will be used to help our women better prepare, get the information they need for market entry before the actual virtual mission. So with that said, I think that this opportunity with the training sessions and the virtual mission, which will be open to not just the delegates. The delegates are a little bit special, but we will also open it up to the public. So we hope to engage women entrepreneurs and aspiring women entrepreneurs throughout Canada from coast to coast to learn more about the Korean market and create or, you know, nurture a new cohort of women entrepreneurs who would be interested in doing business with Korea. So in any event, that's the program. And with no further ado, I'd like to thank the minister, first of all, and the government of Canada for all the support. And I'd like to introduce to you the Honorable Mary Ying, Minister of Small Business, Export Promotion, and International Trade. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you. Unlike Christine, I need my notes. This. Well, thank you so much, and good afternoon. I'm going to look at the camera because I know we have an audience virtually, in addition to the terrific audience that is here. But let me begin by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional territory of many nations: the Mississauga of the New Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Chippewa, and the Wendat people. It is really wonderful to be here for the launch of the Asia Pacific Foundation of Canada's first virtual women-led trade mission to South Korea. And I want to thank you, Consul General Jung, and Director General Jung, and for COTRA for welcoming all of us here so warmly today, so that we continue our incredible journey of developing those not only bilateral ties between Korea and Canada, but indeed the continued trade and commerce tie that we are about to talk about. And Christine, thank you always for your leadership and that of the Asia Pacific Foundation, and for inviting me to this very special launch. And most importantly, a big congratulations to the entrepreneurs and those who are going to be participating on this mission. And I want to wish you all the very best, and I'm looking forward to your future successes. I want to thank the APF for their important work. And I know that the APF themselves don't brag, so I'm going to brag for them. They've spent the last 35 years deepening the economic and cultural relations between Canada and Asian markets through trade, through investment, and certainly through innovation. Last year, I was really thrilled to send APF and a delegation in fact, that was the first led women's business mission to Japan. And it was a terrific mission for all the women leaders and businesses who participated. And I think if I don't have the numbers off the top, but I know that out of that mission, we did what missions are intended to do, to facilitate better trade relationships, but ultimately created business opportunities and business growth for Canadian businesses, and certainly for all businesses. And when I learned that the APF was going to plan a trade mission in February, I thought, this is terrific. I'm definitely going to be on that trade mission, and I'm definitely going to go to Korea, and this is going to be wonderful. But COVID-19 hit. This pandemic has changed our plans, and they changed the plans of so many Canadians. But even though much has changed since the beginning of earlier this year, advancing gender equality through trade still remains a commitment that is incredibly important to this government. And we know that women's economic empowerment is the right thing to do. We're here today because we know that advancing gender equality is crucial for business growth and global economic prosperity. Indeed, I think that's even more important now than ever before. Over the last few months, I've been working closely with my international counterparts, including Minister Yu. Minister Yu, for those at COTRA, it's not going to be, she is certainly no stranger because she is my counterpart in Korea. She is the Minister of Trade. So we have been, we're committed to ensuring that our trade agreements and that our policies are indeed inclusive. And with gender equality and women's economic empowerment at the very core. And again, this is a real opportunity that we see for our businesses, our women-led businesses, to grow and to contribute to global economic prosperity for both of our countries. And because investing in women makes sense, according to a recent study done by the McKinsey Institute, let me just give you a couple of the numbers. Advancing women's equality can add up to $150 billion to the Canadian economy and $112 trillion to the global economy. However, according to the World Economic Forum's recent report on the global gender gap, worldwide, only 55% of women are engaged in the labor market as opposed to 78% of men. And the report finds that we need to make this significant change now, because we don't want to take 100 years until we get to gender parity in our economies and in our society. When you hear the numbers of the contribution to our economies and to job growth, I think it's not only the right thing to do, but it makes economic sense for us to be doing this as well. Our government, of course, is very committed to this. We created the Canada's first ever women's entrepreneurship strategy. It's a $5 billion initiative that is breaking down the systemic barriers to economic success by providing access to financing, creating networks of support, funding women-led businesses so that more women entrepreneurs can start up, scale up, and of course, to access new markets like that in South Korea. And as we look to the world and the world and the road ahead, we believe that trade will be key to fostering business growth. And our government is working hard, along with our international partners like South Korea, to ensure that inclusive and diversified trade is very much a part of our global economic recovery. And since 2015, with the entry of force of the Canada-Korea Free Trade Agreement, that strong economic partnership between Canada and Korea has deepened. I'm going to repeat a little bit of what the Consul General has just said, but Canada, two-way investment in both Canada and Korea has grown, helping our people and our businesses. This prosperity is set to continue. As of January of this year, 95% of Canada's exports could benefit from near duty-free access into the Republic of Korea. And by the implementation of the full agreement by 2032, virtually all tariffs, on bilateral trade will be eliminated. This is terrific. It is the right condition for our businesses to be working in. And at a time when improving trade between countries is absolutely critical, free trade between Canada and Korea has proven to be tremendously successful and beneficial for Canadian exporters in many of the traditional sectors like agriculture, fish, seafood, industrial goods, but also with much opportunities in the digital economy and in innovation. The Canada-Korea Free Trade Agreement has helped businesses, just to give you an example, like our award-winning ice wine producer, Pillitteri Estates Winery. They've seen sales to Korea increase by as much as 400% since this agreement was signed. Creating more opportunities for our businesses is at the very foundation as well of a recent joint action plan to facilitate the flow of goods and services. We did this at the very beginning of May with countries like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and South Korea. And this bilateral and multilateral work to keep increasing our opportunities to trade must continue. And today's event is significant because it gives us reason to be optimistic. We have come a long way in this fight against COVID-19. And there's much more to do. And I'm so proud of us as a country. I'm so proud of Team Canada because I know that together we are going to work together with our partners in Korea so that we can create the economic benefits that people in Canada and people in Korea are depending on. And trade and that open trade will help us do this. And I think together we can ensure that we will have an inclusive economic recovery. And I want those businesses to know that we're working very hard and we'll have your back all the way along along with the APF, of course, who's going to put you through the the training session to get you all ready for the mission. So I want to thank you very much. But today I also am so delighted that I also get to turn the floor to my colleague, Minister Yu, for her remarks as both of us, Trade Minister from Canada and Trade Minister from Korea, for Minister Yu to say a few words on this important event. So thank you so much, and let's give her a wonderful virtual welcome.
Hello everyone. Congratulations on the launch of the first virtual Canadian women-only business mission to Korea. I would like to thank the Asia Pacific Foundation of Canada for organizing this event and inviting me, and especially Minister Ng for the leadership that she has shown in expanding bilateral relationship through women empowerment. Since early this year, Minister Ng and I have shared a mutual commitment to creating more opportunities for women entrepreneurs in both countries, including this event. And this business mission is significant in several points. First and foremost is the opportunities it creates for women entrepreneurs. Women's economic empowerment isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. Reducing the gender gap is an important driver of inclusive economic growth, something that the global economy needs dearly right in the wake of the pandemic. In particular, empowering women to participate in global trade, a core function of this mission, has far-reaching impacts in spreading the benefits of trade further and wider. And second, I would like to note the creative pivot of this business mission to a virtual platform. I believe this sheds a light upon the many possibilities for new modes of business to come in the post-COVID digital era. Last but not least, this mission demonstrates the close relationship between our two countries. This year marks the 5th anniversary of the Korea-Canada FTA, and this mission will become another symbol of the friendship between two countries, one that encompasses the value of inclusive and sustainable trade. Again, congratulations on the launch of the mission. I look forward to meeting all of you in November and discussing more deeply the shared opportunities for women entrepreneurs in our two countries. Thank you very much.
So, I'd like to thank both ministers, and now we have a treat.
Okay.
We have 4 delegates
Yes.
here to speak to you. One in person from Toronto, Andrea Palmer from Awake Labs, and we have 3 from across Canada. We have Charlene Brophy from Newfoundland with PhoneMed. We have Dr. Elizabeth Duville from Montreal from Amorchem. And we have Rena Tabata from Calgary with SmartShare, or is it Think Tank Innovation? Anyway, we will ask you to do a bit of fireside chat
Sure.
with the ladies.
Where would you like me to do
I
at the
think
table?
you can come here,
Okay.
and we've got the camera there.
All right.
So
Okay.
this is right here.
Okay. And I will look over here?
Yep.
Or
You can look that.
Okay.
There's a camera there too.
okay, all right, okay. Thank you. Well, this is terrific, and now we're going to put you on the spot. I'm going to. I mean, I love doing these. I love doing these fireside chats, and the reason I do is there's nothing like getting sort of the testimony or the advice or the wisdom from the business owners and the entrepreneurs themselves. And we find that through sharing of this, of your experiences, it really does help the others. So thank you so very much in advance for this terrific dialogue that we're about to have. I have a few short questions. The other reason I love this as well is that often I'm the one that's in the hot seat having to answer the questions, and it's terrific that I actually get to ask the questions of all of you. And in fact, I don't think it's a hot seat at all. I think that I've read all of your bios and your accomplishments, and I'm just really excited. I think everyone is excited to hear what you have to say. So I'm going to start. I'm going to start the first question to Charlene. Hi, Charlene. There are many women. Hi. There are many women entrepreneurs who are listening to you right now. And as a female founder in technology, what business or trade support services would you recommend to them, especially as they are looked to grow in an important region like the Asia Pacific and certainly, into Korea? What are your thoughts there?
To be an entrepreneur is to immerse yourself in the market, to make as many connections as you possibly can make. I started off locally here in Newfoundland, the trade commissioner and so on in the province, and kind of built on from there. But what I learned is there was so much that I didn't know. And what I want to say is make whatever connections you can. When you're invited to attend any events with, similar to this or much lower level, to immerse yourself as much as you can, because you learn so much from so many other people. There are a lot of the lessons that I've learned is what not to do, and that's what a lot of the lessons that I like to share with young entrepreneurs as well, is what I learned, what you should not do, because there's lots of lessons learned there for sure.
That's terrific. Thank you so very much. I have Andrea, who is physically distanced and away from me, but we are together in the same room physically. And Andrea, of course, is the founder and CEO of Awake Labs, and your business is in digital health. And for someone who's turned an innovative idea into a business, and you're harnessing technology of smartwatches to measure strong emotions like anxiety, and you're doing this in real time, why do you think innovation is just so important, and especially as we are looking to recover economically from COVID-19?
I think that's a great question. I'm going to keep my mask on. I'm sorry, I hope everyone can hear me. But I think, all of the systems, especially the mental health system, are already strained and soon will be, overwhelmed. And we need to figure out new innovative ways that can be better and possibly even cheaper or have, big ROI in the long run. In order to meet the demands of everyone in Canada and around the world. So innovation is just so important. Looking at the systems we have in place right now, what we can do differently, how can we leverage technology in order to improve people's lives and help them live really full, meaningful lives.
That's terrific. Thank you. I couldn't agree more. If I think about what we have seen emerge in COVID-19, you are of course relying on traditional systems, but it is also the incredible innovations that have been worked on, that are being worked on, that are innovating in this pandemic that we are seeing firsthand here in Canada, and to be able to toil for those ideas to be businesses, and then to be able to perhaps grow them into a market like Korea is terrific. Elizabeth, hi. Well, Elizabeth is the founder and CEO of Emercam. And with access, this is already, can you hear? Okay.
You broke there.
Oh, Elizabeth, you might be frozen. There, we good?
Yeah.
All right.
We're good.
Oh, there we go, okay. Well, this one is sort of the $1 million question, because it's about capital. And with access to capital being a key barrier to economic success for women entrepreneurs, especially as they grow, and certainly as they're growing globally, what has helped you to where you are today? And what advice do you have for other women who are looking to follow into footsteps like yours, where you are successful here domestically and really, sort of charting that growth globally?
Yes, well, thank you for that question. It cut off a quick 2 times, but I'll do my best to answer. I think uniquely, but I think it's always a challenge to grow our organizations more Canada-wise and globally, and that is a challenge that we all face. I think that sometimes women lack a little bit of maybe boldness or the aggressivity, maybe not the right word to be used, but certainly the boldness that is taken, sometimes required to be able to forge, relationships outside of that sort of local ecosystem. So I think having confidence in the and having the ability to go off on courage to get that money. So very important. So I think we have to sort of be a little bit more bold and confident about the steps that we take, generally speaking. And the answer can be no, that's fine. And another point would be yes. So keep on going.
I think that that's actually very appropriate and good advice. Keep on going, and that boldness. If I were to reflect on the women's entrepreneurship strategy, and the pillars of the strategy is, one part, an ecosystem to really be able to support women who are starting up, but also scaling up, and also in that scale up into international markets, so accessing those markets, and being bold and having that support is absolutely critical. And there is something that is very particular that women entrepreneurs need that's different. So if I were to reflect, as I said, that boldness and that keep going, but having the support there as you chart that, so that someone is kind of behind you and saying, it's okay, that's bold, keep going, and be bolder. So I think that that's absolutely terrific. Rena is the CEO and president and co-founder of it says Health Tech, so I'm sorry that the name of the company didn't right, but Rena, you can provide that in the answer. But as a successful entrepreneur in health technology, and particularly the last few months in the face of this global pandemic, what have you how have you adapted? And what do you feel are the most critical changes that a business must make through this time of economic recovery and certainly into the future? And how do you think trade will support that, that recovery?
Thank you for that question, Minister Ng. As you've mentioned, healthcare has really changed in the last 6 months with the pandemic. It has forced it to look at the ways in which it serves its patients, look at new ways to manage resources. And for our company, we work very closely with our heterogeneous stakeholders. Those are our client bases, which include physicians, nurses, regulatory bodies that govern healthcare professionals, and government entities such as privacy commissioner offices. And by keeping close tabs and working on an ongoing basis in close alignment with these types of groups, we understood at the outset of the pandemic that there was a need to modify the direction in which our company was operating. When we first started, we specialized in healthcare professionals and healthcare professional secure communication. But with the onset of the pandemic, organizations, large and small, hospitals, academic organizations, community-based health clinics, they were all having to adhere to local legislations around physical distancing, government signals around shutting down elective services and surgeries, and yet at the same time be able to require. And so we went from an organization that specialized in that healthcare professional to healthcare professional communication piece, but then over the last handful of months have shifted our operations to ensure that all organizations have the virtual tools to connect with patients and patient advocates to ensure nobody is falling between the cracks and that patients continue to receive the care that they require. And so I think listening to your stakeholder base is key, but missions such as this upcoming virtual mission to South Korea and 2019 mission that we partook in to Japan has helped fortify our trade relationships overseas. And as an organization, we are so grateful because this diversification has really, I think, poised our organizations for fluxes in the market. Things are moving quite quickly, and the fact that we're able to work with such a diverse group of markets has not only enabled our organization to thrive, but grow, and we've been fortunate in that way.
That's terrific. I have one last question that I'm going to ask every single one of you, and it's the same question, and this is almost like taking a focus group of, you know, of 4th-grade entrepreneurs here for the APF, but this is the question: what are you hoping to get out of the mission?
For us, I mean, going to a new market and having an organization that's so innovative like the Asia Pacific Foundation be there and help to train you on the new cultures and the trade and everything is just so incredible. And for us, I mean, Korea is such a good expansion opportunity for us in the markets that we serve. And we use Samsung products, so it's a really good link there. But really just being able to experience, see how they run companies there, what we can learn, and we grow through partnerships, and that's really what we're looking to get.
Terrific. Thanks, Andrea. How about Charlene? Same question.
I think
You know, I think for me, the big thing would be about the building of relationships. And, you know, the adoption of telemedicine and virtual care that has happened overnight has been more than I could have ever dreamed about 2 years ago. And to share some of the lessons learned with the success that we've had locally, and to learn a little bit as well about some of the success that Korea has had with their satisfaction with their healthcare system currently and so on. And is there a way to blend both, to bring the virtual care experience that we have and to learn a little from, you know, from our folks in Korea about how they've attained such success with the satisfaction levels they have with the healthcare system today, and to maybe reduce some of the demand on the emergency rooms by introducing the virtual care.
That's terrific. And Elizabeth, what about you? What do you hope to get out of the trade mission?
Yeah, so what we're looking to get out of this is twofold. So as an investor, as a venture capital firm, we're looking to expand our investor base, invest in collaborator base, both for at the fund level, but also at the portfolio level. So of course, we've got a lot of innovative technologies within our portfolio and partners, biotech partners, or other venture capital investors that will be in Korea that would like to partner with us on that. And then as we talk about innovation, and it has no postal address, postal code, so there's great innovation in Canada to be out to Korea, and likewise innovation. When I talk about innovation, in my case, or with obviously with the COVID crisis, the first goal is really to expand our investor base, again, at the front end portfolio level. But the second is, I would say, learning to scale. And so we're huge fans of the Korea Drug Development Fund that was established in 2010 with $1 billion US to turbocharge, if anything, drug development in Korea. And that's sort of like an Americam on steroids. And we're really fascinated by that. And one of our goals was to understand how to better scale and how to grow. And I think that having an organization, government funded, such as KBDF, that's sort of been there, done that, would have been really nice to get a sense of their lessons learned and what we can do at our level to an American.
That's terrific. Thank you so much. And Rena, why don't you close us off and let us know what you would like to get out of this trade mission?
Sure. We look forward to forging a new relationship with healthcare organizations who might be willing to try Canadian technology in their healthcare space. Healthcare professionals take signals from their healthcare colleagues in highly regulated groups. And so it means a lot to be able to partner with a local group and showcase the utility of technology and solutions. And so we very much look to that.
That is terrific. Well, thank you so much. That was today is the launch. There is much activity that's going to take place between now and November, when we are all going to be in Korea virtually, and and I very much look forward to continuing to work with you and to get progress reports along the way. And if I don't see you before the mission, well, I'll see you at the mission.
Thank you very much, Minister. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody. This brings to a close the launch event. And again, we're spending so much time with us today. Thank you very much, Minister. And thank you, Director General Jung. The Consul General had rescheduled because of the lateness at start. But he said to say goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for all the support. Thank you very much.